Plow Warriors. Today is a good day for... Well, I treated myself to like a coffee out today because I had eaten all my snacks and I was still hungry. But it was... I didn't like it very much, so that was a bummer. But that's okay. I made it. I also had some more of those grapes that I like. They're so yums. And, yes, today we will be discussing the Regency era, the Regency period. Are you guys wanting another one of those, Braven? We've already got dinosaurs on the docket. And question of the day, what are your thoughts on the new EH design now that we've seen her shooting pose? I don't know about tomorrow, Braven. I gotta have time. I have a really busy work week this week. Unfortunately, this month is extra busy for me. Wait, Braven? Oh, the design. I was like, what's lewd? I'm like, oh, I already forgot that I asked the question. Ooh, what kind of snack, Reggie? I use avocado oil and olive oil. Those are my two main oils. Excuse me. Thanks, Bleed, for 4 months of Twitch. And I'm laughing at Braven, an Ikea poncho with a booty window. Yeah. Yes, thank you. I'm glad this was my, Bleed, this was my Game of Thrones inspired House of Roses outfit that we chose a while back. Yeah, Halcyon, yeah. That's, yeah, EH is got two of those comments, yeah. Why is the collab going on for a full month? I thought it ended today. Seems kind of excessive. Wait, are you making those or you bought them? Oh, you're trying some. I thought you said you were making them. A secret sauce flavor. What does that mean? It's literally, that's the flavor? Like the mystery flavor Airheads? Skin tight yoga pants that vacuum seals to your bottom half. How do you stand wearing them? I mean, they're not uncomfortable as long as you have the right, like, underwear. Like, if they fit right and you're wearing the right underwear, then it's generally not uncomfortable. Is what I would say. So it depends. Although, personally, I'm not a fan of... Are you talking about the ones that are, like... There's, like, some that, like, have the seam, like, right in the butt, and it's made to try to, like, make your butt look bigger. I've never worn a pair of those, and those do look miserable to me. I'm gonna have to disagree for those ones. I have not tried a pair of those, and that's on purpose. I think they look really tacky, and they look uncomfortable. But I do like yoga pants. I prefer, like... Sometimes I like tight clothing because I like compression. So it makes my legs feel energized. Yeah, exactly, Bleed. That's what it looks like to me, and it also just looks like really tacky. Yeah, no, I'm with you there, Braven. That looks pretty miserable to me. I can't imagine doing those. I haven't tried a pair like that because it's really just not my style. I like regular yoga pants, but not like the kind that are right up there. All right, anyway. There's a new meme format. The template is in the Discord. And, there we go. So a little, scene between Wells and Marion there. Yes, Modernia. When I used to accidentally, when I was writing my scripts, I used to sometimes call her Modernia and sometimes call her Marion. So then when I was going through and voicing her lines, I would miss a bunch because I would like search for just Marion. So I've been much better about that. So, class time. Do. The Regency era. Women love the Regency era. And, thanks, Andesito, for following on Twitch. So, the Regency era. This is George III. Now, if you're American, you might know what George III is best known for as an American. Anybody? George the Third. Hey, or maybe if you're a Hamilton fan. No, Braven. No. Incorrect. That's what you... Is that a thing? I'm not... Maybe that was a thing for him. I doubt it, though. Yes, that's true, Mac. He was known as the Mad King. He's on Bridgerton a bit. Obviously, he features in Hamilton, which is a... Yeah, there we go. George III director. Yeah, no. So he... I always think of The Office. Who was king? Why, the tyrant King George III, of course. So yeah, King George III, that's who America... Well, I mean the country, but that's who was king when America had this... Not the Civil War, oh my god. The Revolutionary War, 1775. No taxation without representation. It was King George III, who, as far as England, he was actually a good king of England. Not to the Patriots, they weren't on board with that, but to English in England, he was a good king. However, he had severe mental illness, which they depict on Bridgerton, and it's half fact, half fiction, kind of how they do it, because some of the treatments they depict him going through, they really did do to him, like torture kind of stuff, like literally tortured him to try to torture him out of mental illness. Researchers, historians have a variety of theories about what he had. Some say he was bipolar, some say he had like, what was it, porphyria or some other kind of like illness. So there's disagreement about what was the cause, but he went through multiple bouts of severe mental illness where he was like basically just not lucid. And so he went through a couple periods. First in like the 1780s, I believe, he went through a severe one, and then he was okay again. But then in like the 1790s or something, I believe, or no, not 1790s. Then in 1810, he went through another severe mental illness. And so, because of that, he was deemed unfit to rule, which he definitely was. So his son, King George IV, took over leading the country as the, quote, Prince Regent. And that's why it's called the Regency era. So technically the Regency era, when George IV was the Prince Regent, is only 1811 to 1820, but usually historians recognize the era as being generally between 1795 to 1837. My book considers it to be 1789 to 1830, so it's not like a hard fast rule, but like the very technical years would be 1811 to 1820, but it's usually considered to be longer. I think a lot did recipes, but I think George III was kind of exceptional. And so this was his wife, Queen Charlotte. I believe she was Austrian. One thing that's interesting about them is they actually did have kind of a nice love story, as far as George III was one of very few kings, or like one of the first who did not take a mistress. So he and his wife were together for 54, 56 years, and he never took a mistress, which, yes, that was an accomplishment at the time. That was a big thing. And they had a very successful marriage. So they were, like I said, 54 to 56 years of marriage. And in addition, over a course of about 20 years, she had 15 children. 15 births in about 20 years. So she was just like, bam, 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 bam. So, two of them very fertile, very active marriage, clearly. So yeah, holy crap. And it's amazing because she survived 15 births too. Like back then, that was a freaking accomplishment. Like that was beating the odds, right? Like, damn. What's crazy though, so this was her first son, George IV, who was a POS. He sucked. He was one of the worst kings of England ever, which is so interesting. It's weird watching Bridgerton and knowing that, yeah, your son was totally sucked. He became like, honestly, these days this doesn't look like that fat. He was like 250 pounds, I guess. But so for the time, he became like obese. He was basically like ate himself into being like blind, and like he spent tons of money, tons of mistresses, a bunch of illegitimate children. So yeah, so he's the one that became the Prince Regent, and people were not happy because he sucked. He got them in so much debt. He was constantly, apparently when he was younger, George III was like, all right, since you're the crown prince, here's the allowance we'll give you, like X amount of money. And he like threw like a tantrum and was like, that's not enough of money. And he like blew through it. And they had to like give him more money and buy him out of debt because he he loved to eat, which is so funny because like the country was in a really dark time because the Industrial Revolution had come, which meant a lot of people were getting rich, but a lot of people were getting super poor. And the life expectancy actually went down because of like factory working and people being the increase in the gap between the wealthy and the poor. So this guy's like eating himself to death while people are literally starving. So, yeah. The crazy thing too, so these 15 kids, he was the first of 15, 13 survived to adulthood, and they had, only one, out of those 15 kids. So the 13 kids, several boys, several girls. The girls were like cloistered in the castle and never got to like meet men and like marry and have kids to create heirs. But then the men didn't want to have proper marriages, so they just had a bunch of mistresses, they just had actresses, and so they bore her children. She had 15 children, they had tons of kids, but only like 2 of them were legitimate. And then one of them died, so George IV had one legitimate child, but she died giving birth to her own child. So when that happened, the only like direct heir to the throne died. So then one of her other kids was like, she had to be like, okay, bro, you need to get married and have a legitimate kid. And so they did, and there was just the one, and that became Queen Victoria eventually. So like, that's how crazy it was, because when George IV died, the next brother, I believe Frederick, had already died. So the second son had already died, the first 2 died. So then William IV took over and died pretty soon after that. And so that was the 3rd son, and then his daughter, Queen Victoria. So pretty wild, right? She had 15 kids, but they had trouble having an heir. Like, if each one of you a-holes just has one legitimate kid, we've got 15 heirs here. Like, can you imagine? Like, they depict her as being really pissed off in Bridgerton, and I think she probably was. She's like, I did not pop out 15 of you a-holes for you not to give me some heirs. Yeah, literally, that's part of one of the seasons of Bridgerton is where she's like, you guys need to marry and have legitimate children. So, whoops. Okay, so George IV, he was famous for spending a lot of money. One of the things he loved to spend money on was architecture. So this is Brighton Pavilion, which he had built. It's quite extravagant, as you can see, and he was inspired by a lot of, like, international styles. Like, if you first saw this, would you think this was from England in the 1800s? Like, that's a good one, Reggie. No, Zero, we liked the gentleman. We don't like that guy. Nobody did. Excuse me. They did not have nice things to say to him after he died. Like, people who were writing at the time ripped him apart. But yes, he spent tons of money on architecture. And I can't remember, there was one thing he built. I can't remember what it was. It's driving me crazy. Because I remember reading about it in my book. He spent tons of money to have it built. It was great. People loved it. And then he was like, ah, F it, and tore it down. After spending all that money. So, yikes. So he sucked, but he is who the era is essentially named for. It was very interesting, too. The book talks about... Oh, by the way, the book is The Time Traveler's Guide to Regency Britain by Ian Mortimer. I really enjoy his books. I've read 2 others. They were talking about the kind of woman he liked. He liked older women who were, like, mommy types that would, like, pamper him but also be, like, a mommy to him. And just, yeah, sounds like he maybe had some issues. He's also famous for, I believe there was Buckingham House, and he made that into what is now Buckingham Palace. So, yippee. Now, we have been talking about the styles because I bought a Regency era style dress. So most people, this wasn't the style throughout that entire period, but it was during like Jane Austen Regency period time. So like 1800, 1820. So it was these dresses that have the high waistline. This is called an empire waistline. And then they were really long, but as you can see, like I was saying, they're not form-fitting. So they, they're form-fitting up there, but then they're just like straight up and down on the skirt. So they're not very flattering. And then, so here's some more examples. See the high waistline, straight skirt. These are a little more shapely, but mostly it was like the straight up and down skirt. Obviously, this isn't what the poor people were wearing. We're talking about the rich people. The landed gentry, the nobility, and the royalty. So this is what they wore. Okay. This is the dress that I just got. So, as you can see, high waist, long skirt. I don't love how I look in it. I don't know what you're talking about, Bleed. I don't love how I look in it because it like doesn't like go. This looks more like it shows your figure than it actually does. It just like straight up here, doesn't go in on your waist. So I realized, here's the problem. I need one of these bras. This is how the women all look in the movies and the shows. They've got these crazy push-up bras, and that's the only thing that makes the dress look good. So, these are the ones of the time period. So these were the corsets, which were known as short corsets or stays. So usually you think of the corsets that like are like laced up the back super tight so that your waist is as tiny as possible. But these ones were different, where you can see they were more just like, I'm sure you all are familiar with what a balconette bra is, right? You're all versed in your bra types. So more of a balconette bra type. But it didn't like pull in the waist. So this is like a good one too, where they might lace up the back, but they weren't meant to like rip you in the back the way the other kind were. They were more made to push your boobs up there so you'd look good. So I gotta get me one of thems. Then moving on to famous people of the period. Can anyone name this one? Anybody know who this is? Exactly, Bleed, because that's what those dresses are made for. They don't show off your waist. They don't show off your legs, because you didn't show off your legs back then unless you were a loose woman. It's quite unflattering. I guess it might make me look taller though. Yeah, ankles. There's a scene in the second season of Bridgerton where he sees her ankle and he's like, oh yeah, ankles. I don't know last time I saw an ankle. So far, nobody knows who this is? Come on, guys. Anybody? No, actually, Reggie, they did use the F word back then, too. No, Blue Tide. No, Bleed, oh my god, are you guys joking? Are you messing with me? No, this is Jane Austen. You guys know how Jane Austen is, right? Did you not, I'm confused, did you guys not go through a period starting around 2 years old until about 20 where you were obsessed with Jane Austen? Is that the problem? Did not every child go through that? Where all the content they consumed was Jane Austen? Weird. This is Jane Austen, most famous person of the Regency period. I would say more famous than George IV even, the regent himself. So she wrote, basically she's the inspiration for shows like Bridgerton. She wrote Pride and Prejudice, Sense and Sensibility, Mansfield Park, Northanger Abbey, Emma, Persuasion, Is that, I think that's all 6 of her full novels. And then some other incomplete novels. Alright, fine, Nijin. Well, she's the most famous person. So all that stuff... No, Downton Abbey's a different time period. So, yes. She, that was her. Other famous... So the Regency period also overlapped with the Romantic period. Are you guys familiar with, like, the Romantic period? The poets, the writers, the artists? So some other famous people were Lord Byron, John Keats, Percy Shelley, William Wordsworth, Sir Walter Scott, Mary Shelley. You guys who know who some of those are, right? Bleed, is that a Spider-Man reference? Okay, good. At least Nigel knows. Mary Shelley wrote Frankenstein. Yes, Lord Byron. Yeah, Reggie, apparently Lord Byron was kind of a POS himself. He was kind of a creep. Cute name for a cat, but he was some words I can't say on the internet. That's valid, Jack Tricks. I can't for most of them either. However, I will read you one of my favoritist poems. This is William Wordsworth. I have a little mini book of William Wordsworth poems. This is one of my favorites. I wandered lonely as a cloud that floats on high o'er vales and hills, when all at once I saw a crowd, a host of golden daffodils, beside the lake, beneath the trees, fluttering and dancing in the breeze. Continuous as the stars that shine and twinkle on the Milky Way, they stretched in never-ending line along the margin of a bay. 10,000 saw I at a glance, tossing their heads in a sprightly dance. The waves beside them danced, but they outdid the sparkling waves in glee. A poet could not but be gay in such a jocund company. I gazed and gazed, but little thought what wealth the show to me had brought. For oft, when on my couch I lie, in vacant or in pensive mood, they flash upon that inward eye which is the bliss of solitude. And then my heart with pleasure fills and dances with the daffodils. I love this poem. What do you guys think of that one? He has another one that's very similar, like content-wise. But I really like this one. It's just like, it's not too like complicated, you know? It's like, it just paints a really beautiful picture that you can really like relate to. So whenever I see daffodils, I always think of it. I'm like, a host. It's a crowd, a host of golden daffodils. So it's pretty. Let's see, what did I have here? Whoop, okay. I can only show you guys this thing for a second. But Braven was referring degenerates. There were some very... Okay, so this time period was crazy because, like, the rich people were doing some crazy stuff. Okay, so a bunch of stuff. So, like, the rich people wanted to be able to keep living it up. So, like, the nobility, like the Bridgerton-type people, they wanted to just, like, keep living it up, having their mistresses, gambling. People love to gamble. Apparently, like, people would gamble on just about anything. Like, one guy, like, ballooning became popular, hot air balloons. So they'd be like, I bet you 500 guineas that you can't get your hot air balloon 100 feet off, well, not feet, 100 meters off the ground. But then they would bet on some crazy stuff to, like, mock each other, too. Like, one guy bet 1,000 guineas that no one could seduce his mistress because she would be loyal to him. He lost his money and his mistress, so... Bad call, bro. And so they were freaking crazy back then. But also, the French Revolution had also recently happened. So the nobility was also concerned because they wanted to continue their status quo of just doing whatever the F they wanted. But poor people were like, we are freaking starving. And recently the French Revolution had happened, and that did not go so well for the rich people, the people in charge. But some of the things they also did, I will show you a brief picture. They had this crazy club. I highly recommend you Google it yourself. Beggar's Benison. There's not many images I can show you of it, and you will understand right away if you Google it yourself. It was a special club for rich gentlemen. And so these gentlemen would go there and they would drink, and they would have naked female models, and they would have, there's a lot that was alleged to have happened. They would have explicit poetry and readings that they would read to each other, if you catch my drift. And I will show you one thing really quick. This was a special plate they had. Okay, I can't show you anymore. Yes, it's a gentleman's club, but it was on another level, redacted. It wasn't, I mean, I've never been to a gentleman's club. Nigel, yes, it might. I mean, it's historical. Yeah. Anyway, so then the Regency era, the broader Regency era of like 89 to 1830, was also during the Industrial Revolution. So that was the reason the wage gap grew, or not the wage gap, but like wage gap, yeah, but like the wealth gap, that's the word I'm looking for. You can't call it wage because the nobility and the landed gentry didn't actually work. So these factories started getting built like this. It was also an interesting time because, you know, historically, rich people had always been people who had inherited their wealth. You know, like the Bridgerton people. Yes, that's right, Jospert, which very much defined the era. So the rich people had, you know, passed down their fancy houses and their wealth from generation to generation, and they just never had to work or anything. But then there started to be people who were like inventing things and starting industries, and they were becoming literally millionaires, as in not millionaires equivalent today to a millionaire, back then millionaire. Yes, that's right, Reggie. That is what they are also supposed to have done. So, yeah, like millionaires in the currency of the time, which is like crazy. I don't even know how much that is now. So there was, exactly, Bleed, there was the old money, but then there were these upstarts that were making their money. Unfortunately, people who became rich through working were not considered acceptable rich people, of course. Again, the classic old money, new money. They were like, you made your money by working and selling things and accomplishing things. You're not one of us. So, gross. But also, it's really sad to see what it did, like, to the cities and to the land and the people. Because I mean, you can see this depiction where it's showing the smoke, so, like, the cities would just be destroyed with the... I mean, they did not care about the pollution, right? Like, maybe some lack of awareness, but also some not caring, like, you know, tends to happen. So it was really bad. And it also was putting people out of work. So people who had been, like, weaving things by hand were being put out of work. They had spent their life in a trade, but now it was being replaced by machines. So, you know, kind of like people today are worried about AI taking their jobs. The machines took a lot of people's jobs, lots of, like, artisan jobs, because they became done by machines. And then the other really sad thing is, like I said, there were a lot of really poor people. So some families, if you were poor but, quote, able-bodied, then you could get some money from the church. They had like a welfare kind of thing, but it wasn't very much. So it was often not enough for a family to live on, but it helped. But then if you were, like, sick or otherwise not able to work, they would put you into workhouses. which it's like, I mean, I guess you had room and board and food, but you were sleeping like, it was like a prison, basically. Like young children having to work, all these people having to work, doing like little, whatever jobs they could have them do. But they, it was terrible living conditions. And unfortunately, it was so awful, like the people who ran those things, even though, I just lost my train of thought. Oh, the people who like ran the workhouses, they were not incentivized to make sure that like an infant would survive, because an infant would grow up to cost money. So they would often just let them, like if the baby got sick or whatever, they would just like let them die, or they would neglect them so they died, because they didn't want them to grow up and cost society money. So it was really depressing. They also had this thing, so like I said, life expectancy went down, so even less like children were surviving to adulthood. They had this thing, I can't remember the correct name, where a parent could, it was basically like life insurance, but it was called like a burial package or something, and parents would take this out for their young child. And sometimes if that child got sick, they'd let it die so that they would get money. Or like there was this instance the books talked about where like, oh, rent's due, you need to pay rent, and they'd be like, hey, can you just do me a solid, wait till the youngest kid dies, and then we can get their life insurance payout? Obviously it wasn't called life insurance, like I said, it was called a burial something. And I read that and I was like, oh my god, like, oh, yikes. But yeah, it was really rough. What was the other thing I was gonna say? Shooba-dooby-doo. Oh, indentured servitude, Nigel. Yeah, so they had apprenticeships. So there's some apprenticeships that were good, that were like legit, where you like, it was a good opportunity to learn a trade. But then there were some where it basically was like, it was like, what is the word? I can't think of the term the book used, but they would send young children, like as young as 5, to go be, quote, apprenticed to someone, but they would just be doing unpaid labor throughout their childhood, sometimes not even being taught how to read and write. Crazy thing too is during this period, the issues with like literacy, like apparently they did a survey and 40%, I'm gonna try to get the percentage right. Oh, bye, know your role, have a good night. So they like surveyed people in, yeah, they were basically unpaid internships, Jack, but for kids as young as like 5. Shit, what was I saying, guys? I just lost my train of thought. Somebody remind me. Oh, they surveyed men that were in prison. 40% couldn't name who the king was. 50% couldn't say all 12 months of the year. And then it was like 20% couldn't count to 100. And these people are in, like, I was like, oh my god. Crazy. Yeah, Nigel. It was pretty icky. So, interesting, because then the rich people, so, you know, the poorest people were super, super uneducated. Then the richest people, like the nobility, the landed gentry, they would send their kids, they would get, you know, like private tutors for their kids. Men, of course, got a lot more. Women's education usually was only in like languages, musical instruments, painting, dancing. But then men were also taught, of course, to read and write. They were taught languages, they were taught history, philosophy, a lot of emphasis on like ancient, like Greek kind of stuff. And then they could also go on to like Cambridge or Oxford. I believe those were the two of the big ones at the time. And then there was also this thing where called a grand tour. So after a young man came of approximately the right age, to finish out his education, he'd go on a grand tour of Europe, which would include, so they had season 3 of Bridgerton references this. At the end of season 2, Colin Bridgerton goes on a grand tour and returns in season 3 much hotter and more worldly. Because that's what happened. You get ripped on your world tour. And basically studying about Rod Reginald. Because they were, partially because they were supposed to, you know, a lot, like I said, a lot of the emphasis had been on like ancient Greece and like classical knowledge. Yeah, seriously, Bleed. God. And so there were, they would go to those countries that they'd learned about, Greece, maybe France, depending on how the wars, what wars were going on. And then like Germany and all of those. Yeah, sorry, that was sirens over here. And so, sounds pretty great, right? And then the youngest, maybe can't even sign their own name. I mean, not the youngest, the poorest might grow up to not even be able to sign their own name. So you've got the top of society who are touring Europe as part of their education, and the bottom who don't get to learn anything. Seriously, Bleed, I told them what she did and they're on their way. Disrespect. Dishonor on you. So, you can ask questions if you would like. I may or may not know the answer. Let me see how far I am through my book. I am about a third, yeah, about a third of the way through my book. Yup. The next chapter I have coming up is called, or not, its next section of the chapter is called Attitudes to Foreigners. Bubbles. I don't have any bubbles right now. Usually I've got some bubbles in hand because, well, not in hand, but in stock to use with the children. Kids love bubbles. Boy, do they love bubbles. So, yeah. Questions. Yes, Bleed. Bridgerton very much romanticized it, especially because they're only showing the nobility, the very top of society. That is not how the regular people were living. Not how most people were living. And they really don't, they don't address either, like, the whole, Industrial Revolution part either. They do reference the fact that they all leave London and go to their country homes and then come back, because apparently, like, London in the winter was not very much. What does it mean to take a mistress? So that's when you have a relationship outside of your marriage. So most kings did it a lot, and in this period, a lot of people did it. Apparently women also, the rich women also would have affairs as well. And as long as they gave their husband an heir and a spare, they were generally got to do whatever they wanted. Culture, food in general. So yeah, Industrial Revolution. Like I said, there was overlap with the Romantic period, Reginald. So that very much influenced the art and the poetry and the writings of the time. Let me bring up an example of a la 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 la. John Constable painting. So bring up a couple of these. So this is one of the big painters of the time. So you can see in the Romantic style, it's very distinct. You'll see a lot of other ones like that. Where the Romantic style that's like, it's very like wistful, you know, kind of looking. Like it's trying to think of a word besides romantic. But you can see it, right? Like it's this wistful, like out in the moors on the foggy morning, Elizabeth encounters Mr. Darcy, which is a frickin' ridiculous plot. And it's Jane Austen is rolling over in her grave, and none of you even know what I'm talking about. Yeah, I actually quite like the Romantic era paintings. see if I can, let's get another one. Romanticism painting. Let's get some more examples. That German. Ah, this is one of my favorites. But I can never remember who painted it. I think this is a perfect example. Like, it looks so wistful and pensive. Who did this one? I never can remember. Let's go to the Wikipedia page. Caspar David Friedrich. I never remember his name, so then I can never look up the painting. So these are some German Romanticism. Ah, this is a big one. French Revolution Romanticism. Here's another. This is a good example. This is Ophelia, who also inspired Taylor Swift. This is the painting Taylor Swift recently referenced. Yes, Reggie. Yeah, so I love this one. So those were really big. Then music-wise, Beethoven during this time, and I think was Mozart too. So Beethoven, and I believe Beethoven and Mozart were in this time period. Sorry, I'm getting some water. I don't think that the Queen's okay with their husbands doing that. I think it depends, because I think it partially depends on their marriage. Because, you know, those marriages were often arranged for political reasons. So, like, Queen Charlotte, she didn't meet George III before their wedding. Their marriage was arranged. She came from her home country to England not speaking English. So their case was kind of unusual, where they actually had, like, a very loving marriage, and that he didn't take her mistress, because, like, a lot of the others, they weren't love matches. So I think the queens probably weren't thrilled about it, but some of them also probably didn't care, because they were probably like, great, now he won't try to go to bed with me, like, get that guy out of here. So I think there probably was a mix. Like, they probably cared, as in they didn't appreciate it, but at the same time, they might not have had a lot of affection for their husband either. So a perfect example is George IV. He had an actual wife. This guy really did his wife dirty. So he had a real wife, Caroline, Queen Caroline. And she, there was a whole bunch of stuff with them. They had one illegitimate child, but then he just had all his mistresses. And then when he became king, Caroline tried to be like, hey, I'm the queen now. And he banned her from court and, like, pushed her out. So yeah, he sucked. Ooh, I don't know if I have a top 5 recipes. I absolutely do want to do painting. I can show you, I can post to Discord some of my paintings. I love to paint. And I really want to get into painting more when I have more space. I like acrylic paint. I prefer acrylic paints. Hey, Milkman. Doing pretty good. I was in a bad mood today. But happier talking to you guys about Regency. Mac, I have not heard of that one. So yeah, I like doing acrylic painting. So I want to get more into it and kind of hone my skills. The thing I really need to practice is I struggle with color mixing. So I really need to do more study of... Also, I missed that day in my art class when I was in college. And so I need to do more study of color mixing. There's a book I want to get on color mixing, and I just want to have, like, space and time to just practice color mixing, because it's really important skills. Braven, how about like a romantic style acrylic painting of Nikke's? It's like, it's a goddess fall, but romantic style, as in the wistful. What else? What other word? I like the way he does the brush strokes. This my style. That's a joke, right, Kaiser? This is part of a joke. You can't do this to someone who takes things literally, Kaiser. So yeah, I would say this is one of my favorite paintings of the era, for sure. I just like it. And I like how you see it, like I like how it's him from behind and looking out. Like it really puts you there, you know? You know what I mean? So, it's, oh, hey, yeah, there I am. I'm there now. My new watch, should have arrived, so I'm gonna go grab it after stream. I'm very happy. I've been very grumpy without having a fitness watch. It's been stressing me out so bad, and I feel like I'm a big, fat, disgusting monster, and it's been making me very sad. So after this, I will go get the watch. So, the Dishonored series. No, I have not, Milkman. Ow. Sorry, my knees have been hurting a lot this week. I know, I'm familiar with it. I know of it, because it has a great credit song. The remix of Drunken Sailor. So yes, any other questions? Any other questions? Oh, I believe Queen Charlotte is the one who first introduced Christmas trees to England, because she was Austrian. And I believe, yes, you can barely hear me, Kaiser. For real? Or is this part of a joke? Bleed, there are always more dresses I'm interested in getting. I only got that one in the first place because it was a Amazon one that was not cheap but affordable. I wanted to get one off Etsy, like a custom made really pretty one off Etsy, but you know. Ah, interesting, Nigel. I don't think it's gonna snow too, Jay, but I'm hoping the knee pain is something climate related and not just aging knees. I was gonna say something else. Something else. Okay, that must have been part of a joke for Kaiser then. I didn't get any gloves, Bleed. No, I felt like that was too frivolous to spend my money on that too, because I already kind of splurged to get the dress. It's for an event that I'm going to, so I was like, okay, I shouldn't be so frivolous and vain as to also buy the gloves, you know. Kaiser, I take things literally. Oh, Amadeus, Milkman. I have not seen the movie all the way through, but I remember seeing it on TV as a kid. And I mostly remember the end, and it was super depressing where they just dump him into that grave. Bleed, I'm probably just gonna wear some flats. I also have some like low heels. I think those are called kitten heels, right? But I'll probably just wear flats so I don't get foot pain. Okay, weird. Alright, friends. Oof, my head. Circus stilettos. Yeah, that's the only part I remember of the movie, pretty much, Milkman, is him, like, getting sick and dying and then that. Aw, thank you, Recipes. I try. It's been really hard without my watch. I know I need to work on it. That's definitely what my dietitian would say. She'd be like, well, you know, ideally, you could function without the watch. And I'm like, well, this isn't a perfect world. I'm not a perfect person. So, yes, thank you, Braven. Are you talking about for a future class, Milkman? Is that what you mean? And tomorrow we will do the EH event. So, excited for that. I must try to prepare my EH voice. Yes, Nigel, OCD, and I am working on eating disorder recovery. So it's really hard for me. OCD plus eating disorder is a really bad combination. So it's really hard for me not to know how many steps I'm getting, not to know, like, when I'm getting cardio. Well, like, obviously I know how my body feels, but I'm not tracking my heart rate for cardio, and it's really, really hard for me. Yeah, I hate it. Kaiser, I had kind of a hard day. Something happened at work that really, really, really pissed me off. My clients all went really well. That was fine. But a coworker pissed me off. So, have I made one, Milkman, or have I watched one? Yeah, that's true, Braven. OCD is not helpful with in any combination. Do not appreciate it. 2J, the patch is happening now, so it should be out tonight. So, yeah. I feel like I've been distinctly grumpier and, like, irritable and moody without my watch, because it died on Saturday, and I feel like ever since then I've been super grumpy. And I'm like, it's gotta be because of the watch, because why else would I be in such a bad mood? But I don't know. Guess how many rows it'll take to get EH? Any thoughts? I'm gonna guess 110 shot with my streamer luck. Oh wait, my chat stopped moving. There we go. Sorry guys. Oh, what the heck? I missed a bunch. I don't know why my chat stopped scrolling. Man, for what? I wanted to... Okay. Braven, it's not as bad as Monk now. It was as bad as that when I was a child. I had to go on independent study and leave school. Nigel, it's interesting. Yes, you're absolutely right for the quantity versus quality, because I'm super OCD perfectionist with my work, but that makes it really hard for me to turn it in, because if I don't feel that it's just right, I don't want to do the work. Or if I feel like I don't have the capacity to do it perfectly, I don't want to do it. So yeah. Yeah, sorry, I stopped, I missed a bunch of comments because I had stopped, training. Milkman, maybe. I think, I have this thing where I don't like to watch new shows by myself. I only like to watch them with another person. When I'm by myself, I just watch my same shows over and over. So, yeah. So if I had an opportunity to watch a new show with my sister, I would. I have saved Bridgerton Season 4 to watch with my sister. So... Yep. Jack Tricks, did I see your question? No. I don't see it at all. I don't think it came through. I don't see any comments from you. Oh. Yeah, British Bake Off is probably... I love my baking shows. I was so sad when I ran out of my... I love the holiday baking shows, and I ran out. I was so sad. That's true, Braven, but how would I do it? How would I watch with you guys? Reggie, you're at... I don't see that either. I don't know what's happening. I think maybe chat, I don't know, whatever caused chat to stop scrolling, I think maybe some messages also didn't come through. So the restream may be acting up, because that's where I read the comments. It combines the two chats, so it might be having some issues. It might have frozen or something. Oh, there's Jack Tricks. Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah, DM me in Discord, Jack Tricks. All right, friends. Well, Milkman, you can't stream, stuff unless it's, Oh, thank you, Reggie. Unless it's, public domain. That's why we watched Little Shop of Horrors. A theme meal, Milkman? You mean like a Regency theme? I would like to have some scones. I've also, for a while, I've wanted to make some nice buttery biscuits with some vegan butter. Because Earth Balance vegan buttery sticks work really well. But I could also go for some scones. I love scones. Want a tea party. Alright, friendos. I'm gonna head out. Go see if my watch got delivered. And, yeah, 2J, there's a Discord. We got all kinds of channels for all kinds of things. Who's got vegan recipes? Raven. Oh, Gordon Ramsay. You think so? That would be cool. Oh my gosh, recipes. That's a great idea. We should do it on a weekend, though. Would you guys be able to do it on a weekend? Because I would want to have time to prep. I have some tea sandwich recipes that I like. Have you ever had, oh my gosh, what's it called? Remind me to tell you the name of the onion sandwich. It's so good. It sounds disgusting, but it's delicious. And then I do cucumber sandwiches, and then scones, and then like little tiny, some kind of tiny dessert. That would be super fun. But it would have to, I would want to do it on a weekend so I would have time. Yeah, we'll keep talking about ideas. Yeah, Reggie, I can't remember what it's called though. Bugging me. Like you'd think like onion sandwich, but no, I was shocked. When I first had one, I was like, onion sandwich, oh god. And then I was like, oh wow, this is freaking delicious. I am gonna be really busy the next couple weeks, so we might have to postpone some of those things, fun things, until like April. I have a big life event coming up, which I will fill you in more on later, but that's why I'm gonna be really busy at work and really busy at home. So it might delay some videos or streams or Discord responses. Just gonna be really busy right now. Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, that sounds fun, Milkman. Definitely do that, Reggie. I would love that. Especially desserts. I've got the good tea sandwich recipes, but I don't have any good tea party dessert recipes that aren't like too much work, you know? Thank you, Braven. I appreciate that. It's been a busy work. All right, I'm gonna pick up my watch and get in bed to do the EH event if it's out. Fingers crossed. And Majram.